Hey everyone, you're listening to Nerd Boys Comic Blog. I'm Marco.
And I'm Andrea.
And today we're doing a Andrea-centric episode.
Woo!
Today she'll be talking about Runaways #1 and a few of her comic book recommendations.
Yep.
So, Andrea, take it away.
Well, where should I start? From the beginning of the first issues of Runaway, or should I start just Runaways #1?
I think we should start with what you expected from this new series of Runaways.
Okay, within just the first issue?
Yeah, what did you expect coming into it and what you got out of it after you read it?
Well, I don't know, because we got the image of the cover first, right? Months ahead.
Yeah, it was in all the advertisements for Marvel.
It was Runaways coming back! I was like, yes, but at the same time, no. You know how the Secret Wars Runaways? I thought it was just gonna be another issue like that.
Oh, where it's totally not connected at all?
Yeah, I was just oh, this is not gonna be relevant to the first story. It's not gonna have any connection. It's just gonna have our favorite characters just thrown into this kind of bullshit storyline. But I mean, I kind of expected it to have something along the lines of the same characters and probably same issues from the first issue. But then I saw Gertrude too on the cover, and I thought it'd be oh, everybody's just gonna gather around and be oh, remember when we used to have Gertrude, our team?
Yeah, so you expected Gertrude to still be dead, and everyone's remember the good times?
Yeah. Just opening into the first cover, you have this shot of them all together, and my first reaction was what the fuck, Alex? Because he's in the picture, and he was dead really quick into the original Runaways. I mean, he did come back, but it wasn't really him. It was actually his dad.
Yeah, and apparently Alex did come back in some side story in Power Man and Iron Fist.
Yeah.
So we might see him eventually in the story.
I'm not ready for him to come back because he was a huge issue.
Yeah, and since there's a TV show coming out, I think we should not really give away spoilers for that. But would you say you're a big Runaways fan before, with the original series?
Oh, hell yeah. Oh, I was a huge fan. I used to read all of them. The first time I got into them was because I didn't have anything else to do, and I used to hang out at the library, and they would have, all the issues of Runaways in the library.
Yeah.
The trade paperbacks, so I started reading those. Those were the first comics that got me into comics.
Oh, everyone has a first comic.
Yeah, and then I got into Teen Titans from there.
Yeah.
And then I was hooked on comics. But anyways, yeah. So it was a little bit close. It's close to the original storyline. I mean, it connects smoothly and kinda. I mean, there's some parts of it that just don't add up. There's that 2-year gap that is brought up, and I'm just what? 2 years? But I've waited 11 years or 10 years for you guys to come back, and you guys just make it sound like it was nothing, 2 years?
Yeah, well, the Marvel timeline's always funky, because I guess every 5 years in real life could technically be a year in the Marvel continuity.
Yeah.
So everyone's only been active for about 11 or 12 years.
But yeah, I mean, it's pretty good. So let me start off from the beginning. We enter this issue #1 with Nico, who is also known as Sister Grimm. I don't know what other name she goes by now, because if all these characters from Runaways have entered any other storyline or any other comics, I don't know about it, because they are forever my characters, the way they were written in Runaways. So if they're ever written in other storylines, I feel the writers will never do them justice. So that's why, one of the reasons why I didn't want to jump in so quickly into Runaways, because I was dreading having to face the fact that my characters were not the same characters that I remember. But we enter back into Runaways, and we have Nico, and she looks really depressed because everything is different when you're, I guess, a runaway character. You're used to being part of a family and no longer having that family. You had your family twice, and then they were both gone.
Yeah.
Really
and Nico,
quickly.
I guess she had 3 families since she was part of
Yeah.
A-Force.
So apparently she was part of A-Force, and she regrets not being there longer or something.
Well,
I feel like Nico just has a huge attention issue, though. Ever since Runaways, you can always tell she has an attention issue.
The whole A-Force thing actually broke up because of Civil War 2.
Yeah. I mean, I've never had Nico be as my favorite character. I mean, she has great abilities and I really like them, except for the fact that there's that rerun issue. Other than that, like, she's never been my favorite character. If this ever gets you into like the mood of actually reading Runaways, the first issues that ever came out, you will realize that she is not a very great character and all she ever likes is attention. Her magic is great and probably her development will be great in this book, but currently she is not my favorite character. I would even consider Alex being a better character than her.
Oh, so you like Alex more?
Well, I liked Alex from the very beginning until I realized he was a traitor. For some reason I expected it to be somebody else. Like, you never see that coming until later when it's actually there. But anyways, we deal with Nico like having that depression issue that nothing is going the way it should, and then wha-bam, we get this amazing like 2-page art which says Runaways, find your way home, and it's Chase holding on to Gert. The only thing I'm not like, I was like wondering, where the heck is Old Lace? Where's the dinosaur? But then it kind of sort of explains why Old Lace isn't there yet. But yeah, we have current Chase holding on to 2 years ago Gert, and he's asking for help. I didn't expect that. I mean, I expected Gertrude coming back, but I didn't expect it in this kind of ways. Like, wait, I just kind of stole her from a different timeline and like expect you to... Last time I seen a young like superhero do that, it didn't go so well. I don't know if you ever read Young Avengers with Teddy and Billy.
No.
Okay, Teddy decided to bring Billy's mom back from a specific point in a timeline. So before she even died, he got her and pulled her out of that timeline. When she came into their current timeline, she ended up being a parasite.
Huh.
So my only thought was like, oh no, can this not happen again? Can this not be another fucking parasite that just destroys everything? Like suddenly dead people just start coming back to life. But yeah, like this is, it's pretty cool how he just comes back and has Gert from 2 years ago. The same moment where she died, like that was the last moment we ever saw her. Like we knew she was dead. And that's the same moment he decided to get her. And his explanation is freaking hilarious because he's like, hey, I went back into the past. I didn't really think I was going to bring her back. I just wanted to kill the guy that killed her. But I arrived too late. And Nico's response was just damn right hilarious. Because that'd be my response too. And being like, you have a time machine. How do you make it there late? But I guess it's very...
It's time travel. It's complicated.
It's not just that. I mean, it's like a good moment to get her. Because she's close to dying. We already know she's going to die. And if he had gotten there earlier before she died, things could have been a lot more different. Like, because then the timeline there is they already know she was dead. They could easily, like, everything's fine. But if he just took her while she was alive, then that'd be another story. Yeah, and then we get to see Nico's, like, magic again. And I still can't get over that she can't cast the same spell twice. When will she learn how to use her magic, is my question. Can she just go to, like, Doctor Strange and be like, yo, help me out? But, I mean, it's pretty good. I don't think there's much to it, because the whole story is about... This whole first issue is just about Nico, Chase, and Gert coming back. Like, there's some funny interaction, and at first they, like, I think there was like, brings a doctor into their place with a spell, and I was like, oh, it must be Claire, but then I realized it's not Claire.
Yeah.
Because
it would have been
by Claire, I mean Claire from Luke Cage. I hope everybody knows that.
Yeah. I mean, it would have been a really great thing, because you do have a Defenders show, and you have a Runaways show. Why not try to, like, do something in the comics where they kind of meet up? Mm-hmm. It would have been fun, but yeah.
They missed a chance with that.
Yeah. But the whole first issue does seem like it's just... The main focus is just trying to heal Gert and get her back from, near death.
Mm-hmm. Nico actually looks pretty cool in this issue, and I'm hoping that she, like, starts developing, like, her character. Because I feel like she didn't have a very good personality or character development in the first issues of Runaways.
So the original series kind of like didn't really use her that much?
They always wanted to display her as a leader, but she was never the leader type. If we wanted to display anybody as a leader, it'd be Gert and Chase together. Because they were like, at least Gert was the smartest one out of all of them. And that's why I was so disappointed when they killed her off. Sorry. Maybe you should not be listening to this if you really want to end up watching Runaways from Hulu. Because then it just spoils everything for you. Anyways, well, she comes back. And it's a little weird that they use a Ouija board to know if she's doing okay.
Yeah, it's like a weird thing that happened. I don't know.
I feel like that was not necessary.
Yeah.
Like, they got her all fixed up. Like, they used some magic to stitch her up or something. And then suddenly she says Ouija board. I guess she can't use that spell ever again. I wonder what's going to happen later on if she ever needs a Ouija board. Anyways, I don't know. It was kind of weird. Like, this whole first issue just feels weird. Like, it's out of place. Like, you need a beginning and this wasn't it.
Yeah, it definitely felt like the second issue. Like, we're jumping into a story that started, like, maybe a month ago.
Yeah. I mean, it's even weird. Like, I've read all the issues of Runaways, and I can easily see where the connection is to this issue. But if you're a new reader, or if you're trying to sell this comic to a new reader, this probably isn't the good spot to start.
The jumping on point.
This isn't it. This isn't where you want to start if you want to get new readers on it. I mean, you're going to get all your old readers back. Like, this is a guaranteed for sure, because not only are you getting Gert back, which is one of the most lovable characters, you get Chase, which is also another character everybody really liked, maybe because he was more like muscle than brain, but there were also the item. And then Nico, people always like Nico for some reason. I never liked her. Maybe for that goth side.
Yeah. I mean, just from the cover alone, you kind of guess that the whole cast would be there from the first issue. They're not really, and I kind of wish that was where we started, where we got, like, everyone's reintroduction.
Yeah.
And then at the very end of the first issue was Chase coming back with Gert in hand. And I was like, that would be a good spot for the first issue to end, and the second issue could really jump into this spot right here.
That would have been, yeah.
But I'm fine with this. Like, this is also alright, because now we can...
I mean, this is alright for you.
Yeah.
Not for me. I needed more pages.
I'm a total newbie to Runaways, but I can, just from what I know, from what you've said, from what other people have been saying, and where the Runaways kind of cross into other stories, I'm like, yeah, I kind of get it. Gert's the one with the dinosaur. Nico's the one with the Staff of One. Chase is the guy with the van. Lucy in the Sky is the alien. And then Molly is our mutant. So,
which I wanted to see. For some reason, I thought she was going to be in the first issue. I didn't care about anybody else. I just wanted Gert and Molly. That's it.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen Molly in like a bunch of...
I only got half of that.
Yeah. I've seen Molly in a bunch of other things, like X-Men, all new X-Men. From
Are you talking like old Molly?
Well, yeah, I'm talking about the future Molly.
No,
when she appeared in that.
Was anybody else in any other things besides Nico? Nico was A-Force, and then we have future Molly. But, yeah.
I mean, Nico's like the one like child actor who was still working. I felt like everyone else has kind of been underground. Because Nico was in A-Force and just like nothing else really. And A-Force was like...
anybody else was in anything.
A-Force was like accepting anyone at that time.
Can I just say how this cover looks so hipster?
Yeah, it does actually. I read an interview with like the writer Rainbow Rowell. Well,
her name is Rainbow. Like legit, her first name is Rainbow.
That's the name in the publication.
Her parents must be like hippies.
Or she changed her name, or it's a pen name.
I want to have hippie parents.
Yeah, well, Stanley's not really his real name.
Really? What's his real name?
Stanley something. Like his first name is Stanley.
Is it like Randolph?
I don't know. Off the top of my head, I can't remember. But yeah, I read an interview with her, and she seemed genuinely like a Runaways fan, and a fan of like young teams like New Mutants and Generation X. So I'm hoping that she does some pretty good stuff and some things that like Runaways fans would want to see. I'm
really hoping that some of them get to still keep their like original character traits, like their personalities. And
yeah,
stuff.
I bet like she really gets them.
I really want Molly to stay as Molly. If she is anything that she was in that future Molly, I don't like it.
Oh, that future Molly was mind controlled, so don't worry about that.
Okay, but I want her to still be a child. Though I'm interested in the reaction between Molly and Gert because she is 2 years younger now.
So now...
So that means she's 2 years older.
Is Molly now older than Gert, or no?
Probably not.
Same age, almost?
Maybe.
Okay.
They would be, like, closer on age. Because most of these are all... They look older now.
Well, also at the end of the first issue, Gert, like, comes back and sees Chase and all that stuff. And the preview for the next issue, the cover is, like...
It looks so weird. Like
this weird thing of, like, old and young Chase. Like, old Chase wants to be with Gert, but then...
Yeah, and Gert looks like, but my old Chase, my Chase, the one from 2 years ago, this isn't the Chase I know. And I'm like, ooh.
Yeah, and we know with Marvel timelines that, like, if they just send her back, it's not going to change anything in their timeline. It's just going to make a new timeline.
I don't think it's going to make a new timeline for that one. I think it's still connected to our current timeline.
No, but if they send Gert alive back into the past...
that would change everything.
It's not going to change anything for them, though. It's going to make a different timeline altogether.
Well, we've already known that Gert can actually create a lot of timelines, because in one timeline, she's still alive.
Yeah, but it's not like the current 616 universe is going to have a new Gert all of a sudden because they sent one back to the past. That's going to create a new universe, like number...
I don't think they're ever going to send her back into the past, because the moment you bring Gert into this storyline, you are guaranteed a lot of Runaway readers back.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And if you lose her, you're going to lose half of your readers from the old Runaways. At least that's my opinion, because a lot of people were very mad about Gert disappearing.
Or being killed off.
Yeah, and then especially like the last issue of Runaways. I don't know if I ever told you about it or if you ever saw it. Did you see it?
No.
Okay, the last issue of Runaways is literally Chase getting hit by a car.
How did he survive that?
He didn't. We only saw him going to in a hospital ambulance.
Well,
he went onto an ambulance and they were taking him to the hospital. We don't know if he survived. But the reason is that he was chasing a girl that looked like Gert.
Okay, so that's interesting.
So I want to know what happened then.
Well, is there...
and what's going on now.
My question is, did the Runaways have appearances in other books, like a crossover with like Young Avengers or something that happened after that?
No.
Okay, so the last thing we saw from them was that.
There was no more issues after Runaways was canceled. There was no more. There was crossovers before.
But there was nothing after that. Was like
no.
And then Chase went to the hospital. And,
nope.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah, it ended literally with Chase getting hit.
Oh well.
And being taken to the hospital by ambulance.
That'll probably be addressed in like issue 4 or 5 maybe.
Probably
after the team's put together
10 or
already.
12.
Maybe.
Like the reason I got you back from the past was I had an epiphany while I was in the hospital. I was like, I can't live my life without you. So I spent 2 years searching for a way to get you back.
Huh. Weird.
That'd be crazy. Want to bet that's going to happen?
Maybe. That might happen. I don't know.
And he was like actually in a coma for like a whole year. And then throughout the whole year, he would only think about her. So his obsession for the next year was trying to bring her back.
Also, whose time machine did he use?
Hers.
Hers. Okay.
She has one.
All right. Any closing thoughts on Runaways?
I liked it. I want to see more. I wish there was more pages in the first issue because now I'm just like, I need more.
Well, it looks like they kind of like mismanaged some of the pages. I mean, I did like some of the visual stuff going on here, but they could have streamlined it a bit.
I feel like it was rushed.
Actually, I feel the opposite. I feel it was very decompressed.
You think so?
In the way that it was, we're only dealing with Chase arriving and then them trying to make Gert better. Like, that's all this issue is. And for 22 pages...
I'm not talking about, like, the issue in general. I feel like trying to get the readers. Like they could have had more time to develop how they wanted it specifically.
Oh, so you mean they had, like, a really action-y, high-paced opening to it?
No, I mean, like, the first issue could have been dealt differently. I wouldn't mind waiting a little bit longer for the first issue to come out, as long as they had the correct progression of the story.
Oh, so this is the wrong spot to start in?
Yes.
Okay.
Like, you could have had more ideas to start. You probably did, and you chose a really weird one. I'm gonna think this is your best idea that you've had, but I wish there was a better idea about this one.
So the execution wasn't right for you?
It was like a 3 out of 5.
Oh, okay.
I mean, in my head, I'm really happy, so because there's characters that I love, so that wants to bump it up to a 4, but that's kind of ignoring that it started in a really weird place.
Yeah. But as a newbie, I'm like, okay, I'll read the next issue.
I guess.
I'll put down that, what?
But that's like me, like, reading a random issue of, like, Spider-Man and saying, oh, this is a great way to start, and you're being like, what?
Yeah, no, don't start with the destruction of Parker Industries. What are you talking about? That's crazy. Do you want to move on to your other recommendation?
Oh, yes. My other recommendation is Secret Warriors. I am currently on issue number 6, and I have all of them, and they are really great. Mainly because we have Moon Girl, we have Miss Marvel, we have Quake, we have Karnak, we have Dante, who is Inferno.
Yeah.
I believe that's its name. And am I missing somebody? Devil Dinosaur?
Can't forget the most important member.
I think that's the first group in general until, like, later, kind of.
Yeah.
Well, the first group was just Quake, Miss Marvel, and Moon Girl. And then they rescue some Inhumans, and then they end up with Dante, Karnak. And then we meet Lear in issue 5, I think. Lear is Karnak's kid who has also been, like, genetically modified to have inhuman powers in a sort of kind of way. Even though he never got hit by the mist. So he has powers through some other sort. Like, they mess with him. I don't know what they did to him. And I forgot who did it. But I should probably get issue 5 again so I can tell you guys who did it.
One of the funny things about Secret Warriors is I hate editorial mandates saying that Inhumans have to be a thing in Marvel. Because for a long time, X-Men were like that big group in Marvel. But since like 2013, 2014, there was a big push for Inhumans. And this is kind of like another one of those Inhumans books where it's all like the main characters that are all Inhumans. It's a full team of them.
Can I tell you from a... Well, okay, finish.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so from like a long-time reader perspective, I'm like, another one of these books. But from your perspective, you're kind of new into the whole Marvel landscape right now?
Yeah.
Or at least you're revisiting Marvel now. How do you feel about all these Inhumans?
I like them. I know most people don't, but that's like... Okay, let me put it this way. There's a new generation starting to read comics right now.
Yeah.
Mainly because
always...
there's been... I know, but I mean, like, mainly because there's been a lot of superhero movies. And since most of them are not rated R, there's been a lot of younger people who have been like, oh, there's comics of these, mainly because their parents will probably be like, hey, you know, there's comics of these characters that we watch in the movies. And kids are probably like, what? There's comic books? There's more? So that means I could buy some of these while I wait for the movie to come out. And it'll probably be the same thing. The kid is probably getting into some deep shit. Find out that the comics are nothing like the movies. But Inhumans is it's like the X-Men for us back then. What it is now for them is Inhumans.
Yeah. I got into comics like around 2004. You
really got into comics until 2004?
Yeah, like, well, reading comics, I think it was for the second Spider-Man movie. So whenever that came out, I went to the comic store and I was like, let's get all the Spider-Man comics I can find. Ultimate Spider-Man, J. Michael Straczynski Spider-Man, that was like my thing. And also the X-Men. That was like a big part of like my formative comic reading years. But I could see kids like going into stores and be like, what are the Inhumans? Oh, and then that kind of being their X-Men team, or the Avengers being their X-Men team that they really like.
I got into comics when I was 12. So how long ago was that?
That for you, that would be...
Around the same time, probably? 2005? No, wait. How old am I now?
You're older than you just said right now.
Yeah. 12 years ago. That was 13 years ago. Right?
Yeah.
So that's 2004?
Yeah.
Okay. So the same time. Around the same time, I started reading a few X-Men comics. But it wasn't that interesting, probably because it wasn't the correct age group. They were all older people and they all looked like sexy and curvy and hardly showing any clothing.
Yeah, but Runaways was kind of like more your thing at that time.
Yeah, like, but when I first started reading comics, it wasn't like, it was X-Men, but I started reading other type of comics back then. So it wasn't until like 2012 that I officially started reading comics. I think 2011 is when I officially started reading comics. And that's when I remember Runaways, Teen Titans, stuff like that. But I didn't really get into it until,
when you and I started talking.
Yeah, when you and I started talking. And then I started buying more issues, and now when I moved to Chicago was when I found out about Inhumans. So it wasn't until I moved to Chicago that I officially started buying more comics outside of my genre. Like, it was always like Teen Titans and Batman, stuff like that. Those were my comics, or indie comics. So it wasn't until I moved to Chicago that I found out about Inhumans, and I actually started buying Inhuman comics. Especially after hearing more of Marco talking about how, Inhumans are just being put in everything now. And when he was talking about, what was his name? The guy that would see visions.
Oh, Ulysses?
Ulysses, and how much everybody hated him. And I would just throw out theories at him, and they kind of confirmed true. And that was when I was like, you know what? I should read about Inhumans. But I didn't really get into it until I started reading Secret Warriors and Moon Girl. And Moon Girl is by far my favorite Inhuman character.
Yeah. I mean, Moon Girl's like the most tolerable one for me because she's just a little kid. Like, she
didn't want to be Inhuman. She's smart. She could be a good character without being Inhuman. I feel kind of sad that they did make her Inhuman. I mean, she could have just be dealing with the Inhuman gene.
Yeah. Also, if this was like 5 years ago, or even longer, if this was like 10 years ago, Moon Girl would not be Inhuman. She'd be like a mutant or something. She'd be totally different.
But I'm okay with her.
Yeah.
Being she's my favorite Inhuman. Besides Miss Marvel, she's pretty good too.
Yeah.
I mean, do you dislike her?
No, Kamala Khan's pretty cool. Moon Girl's pretty cool. I say the royal family is alright up until the moment they really got pushed like big and nobody wanted to see them anymore.
I really don't care anything for the royal family.
Yeah.
And then I find out that Karnak is part of the royal family. It's just, I feel nothing for that character. I'm like, okay, that's cool. I don't know anything about this royal family.
So you're more about like the civilian Inhumans?
Well, I like the Inhumans that actually know how to deal with being an Inhuman. It's kind of like dealing with racism.
So like classic X-Men?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it. Like, them defending themselves is pretty cool. And them not using their powers for, like, evil deeds. And how they confront, like... I like how Miss Marvel actually confronts these issues towards the X-Men. It's like, hey, we're just like you guys. We're on the same side. I don't understand why we have to be, like, fighting against each other.
We're pretty much the same thing, but Marvel says we're different.
Yeah. So, wouldn't that make X-Men, like, racist towards, like...
Yeah, it would make the X-Men pretty hypocritical to be like, those people are different than us.
Yeah! It's not like they asked for it. They just got that gene in them and be like, well, now I'm Inhuman.
The Inhuman gene, the X gene, it's
like the
splitting
same
hairs.
thing.
It's like, it's terrible and funny and hypocritical, the X-Men.
Yeah.
But do you want to talk about your last recommendation for today?
Oh, yeah. So, before jumping there, Secret Warriors, you should really read it. It has some really interesting things. There's X-Men involved. There is the royal family involved. There's Lear, which is Karnak's kid. There's a whole story behind him, even though there really isn't any story behind him, because there was supposed to be... I felt like there was supposed to be more to that character. In issue 5, like, we get him, and in issue 6, we're done with him. Especially since Secret Empire is done. Like, I felt like he was supposed to have some sort of bigger story.
Are you really recommending the book, or are you just being like, I like it, I guess?
It's like, I am, but I'm saying that you should be aware that there are certain points that you just don't understand.
You just gotta roll with it?
I mean, like, the characters are great, the team is a little bit funny, but... I just say look out for certain details that are just like, what the fuck? I feel like there's always those issues in every single comic. Especially right now in all of Secret Empire.
Oh yeah,
There's
all
always
of Marvel
those
really.
like, well, there's always those like, I like this story, but what was the point of this?
But
So
now
there's always that. These characters are lovable still in their own issues or in this issue.
yeah.
Now I can move on to my actual recommendation, which is actually an indie comic from Boom. It is called High Five Fight Club. I really, really like this artist. I don't know any of her works right now, but her work is really, really great. If you just go through any page, you can see all of her art is really pretty. My pretty could be different from your pretty, okay? Just saying that, but I like it. And the story writer is really good. I mean, I feel like she knows where she's going. In just the first issue, I like what was thrown out. We have character descriptions, we have life description, and then we find out the secret, the main secret of the title.
Yeah,
Like,
we're introduced to these like very plain girls, but turns out they're not normal and average.
But they have a very cool job. Like, if I didn't work the jobs that I work now, I would love to work at a record store. Like, I love music. You give me a name, a band, a title, anything, I will listen to it and be like, yo, this is kind of cool. Probably not listen to the whole band and be like, yo, I'm a fan. I'm be like, these songs are cool. But anyways, the writer actually made a playlist for you.
On Spotify?
Yeah. I think it's called Mayhem Vinyl. And it's basically a whole bunch of girl bands. They're all rock bands. I listened to it the whole time I was reading this comic. I loved it. It was really nice. I love the characters. The main character, Chris, I love her little girl crush on Maggie. Is just adorable. I don't know. It's really great. I love this comic. I love all the characters are different in their own kind of way. They're cute. They're dark. They're the tough kind. And then we have the spacey kind, which is your main character, who just looks like she's oblivious, but she looks like a tough girl too. And their boss is pretty cool too. She looks awesome. And then we get some male characters too, here and there.
So it's not all girl power, some guy power too.
Yeah, I think there'll be more characters in there.
Yeah.
Issue 2 should be coming out September 27th. And I am looking forward to it. So yeah, that's my recommendation. Besides Moon Girl, you should really, if you have not gotten into it, already 22 issues in, you should really read Moon Girl. Okay, that's it. I'm good.
All right, so that's going to be Andrea's recommendations. Got Runaways, 2017, High Five Fight Club, and Secret Warriors. All interesting picks, actually.
They're very different.
Yeah.
Except that there's always female characters in them.
Yeah, and they all seem to be like
They all
teenage...
seem to be female leads, too.
Yeah, teenage females. That's what you dig.
Yeah.
Those are your protagonists. All right.
Tough female chicks.
All right, guys. I think that's going to be it for today. Any final words, Andrea?
Nope. Just please read these, because these issues barely get bought. Apparently, they can't make it to, like, the top 20.
Oh, definitely. They can't make it to the top 100.
Help me.
I'm sure Runaways is going to be top 50, maybe, for this month, maybe.
I hope so.
Yeah.
If not, I'm going to be bummed.
Yeah. As a new Runaways reader, I kind of want to see this get at least like 12 issues.
The art's really pretty.
Yeah, the art is pretty good.
I don't know who the artist is. Is it Anka?
Chris Anka?
Chris Anka?
Oh, yeah. Oh, Damon, he really likes Chris Anka's work.
His art is not that bad. I like it.
Yeah.
I like his Nico. She looks pretty cool.
But I think that's going to be it for Nerd Boy's comic blog today and this episode of Comics Overhaul. I guess this is a Comics Overhaul episode.
I hope I didn't bore you guys.
Yeah, but don't worry. Later on this week, it's going to be me and Charles talking about the reveal of Mr. Oz, and also a little spoiler cast for Secret Empire, the event no one likes.
I like it. Just kidding. I have no idea.
Nick Spencer probably likes Secret Empire, his own story. But yeah, that's going to be it for today.
Is it like a fan fiction? I just think everything is a fan fiction.
It almost reads like fan fiction.
Oh, the best kind.
Oh, man. Yep, but I'm Marco.
And I'm Andrea.
We'll see you guys next time.
Bye-bye.
Peace.